I'm Mandy Watkins, company Space Like This, and so I'm an interior designer. Na i neud dipyn o Gymraeg os da chi eisiau hefyd. So dwi'n gweithio fel dylunnydd a dwi hefyd yn cyflwyno ambell i raglen ar y teledu. Felly, quite interior obsessed, you could say. And I have a lot of experience with interiors, holiday homes, budgets, which of course is a really important factor. So let's get started. So, I've been working as, how did I become an interior designer? I did business and sociology in uni, had no idea that interior design was actually a job. And I was probably rubbish at it then anyway. Started working for an interior designer and then thought, I can do this. So since then, I think when I was pregnant with my third child, I decided I can't do a full-time job and start a business. So I thought, right, I'll concentrate on the kids, and setting up a business, probably not the best move when you have a mortgage to pay, but there we go. So now I have a mix of domestic and commercial clients across Wales and the northwest of England. And I present a couple of programmes on S4C and then BBC Wales Home of the Year. So what I'm going to go through basically is the essentials. So if you are, converting your barns or properties that you may have and you were thinking of letting them as holiday lets, then I'm just going to go through the kind of stuff, the list that I go through. So the essentials, what are the important things? And I understand that there are budget constraints with a lot of these things, but with some of the clients I have, you have to concentrate on getting the foundations of stuff ready. So flooring will be an important factor to get right. But other things you can do later on. So it doesn't have to be wow factor from day one. You can always think, right, do you know what? We've spent a lot of money here now. So why don't we wait a couple of months till we get an income and then we can sort of budget and move forward like that. So the essentials. So obviously the entrance, the kitchen, living areas, bedrooms, and then final thoughts. So I'll just go through the process, my thought process when I look at different properties. So space planning and layout. Sometimes I get asked, am I better going for a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, smaller? So when I speak to bolt holes and hideaways or Sykes cottages, they always say not always bigger is better. So a 2-bedroom is a really popular one. If you don't want to invite too bigger crowds, too bigger families, you need to think about who you're attracting. And then when you sort of know your target, then you can go for that kind of feel. What are they going to be after? So choosing your style. I think it's important. I think Wales, because it's a really popular choice, because obviously we have got the best landscape in the world, and I think people have got a sort of vision in their mind of the kind of property they're going to stay in. So I think it's important not for it to be too bland or too neutral. I think people want to see the Welshness. So I think a few antiques, or if you've inherited some piece of old furniture, I think in a contemporary context you can always gel them in, so you don't have to buy everything new so it looks like a next showroom or whatever. You can put these key pieces in. So just to get a general overview, don't get rid of 9 stuff altogether straight away. So whether you're starting the process from scratch or you're thinking of renovating an existing property, selecting the right furnishings will determine the look and feel of your property. So a key factor when influencing guests to come over is the competition is so tough these days because it's a really popular holiday destination. So what's going to set your place apart from the rest? What's going to tip it to the post. So I have done a couple of farm renovations that are right in the middle of the farmyard, and obviously that's a great holiday, because who doesn't want to go to a holiday in a farm in Wales? So I think it's important to have the rural aspect when you're styling. So you would have, like warm colours. Green is a good one, obviously. Keep it fairly neutral, don't go too much, but oak furniture, flooring is a really, I'm going to jump now because this is how I am. I just go from one thing to another. I'm not going to talk about flooring. I am going to stick to the script, okay? So you need stylish furniture, but above all, it needs to be practical. You don't want to be buying stuff year on year, season on season, because it's just going to be a waste of money. So you need practical, so materials that don't scratch. Wood is fine. If it scratches, it's part of the character. And you've got to think about things, they've got to withstand people. Most people are really polite and respectful, but you get the odd one that aren't going to be as quite as light, or they're going to bash things about a bit. So, you've got to think about multiple visits from different kinds of people. And also find pieces that fit your target guest style, budget and space. So what I mean by this is that if you've got a property by the sea, you don't have to go for the seagulls in the window. I think that's a bit of a cliche. Don't do it. It's a bit of an ick for me. So, and you don't have to go for coastal colours. There are things like cushions that you can add. Stripes is a classic one. Stripes never go out of fashion. You don't have to do the usual red boat kind of beach hut theme. I think it can be quite dated, and I think it was something that was done quite a while ago. But when you look at properties these days, it's much more of a toned down version. So it could be sort of, you could still keep the blues and the taupes, but not necessarily go for the beach hut look in the twin bedroom. And I think no guest wants sort of average, so magnolia on the wall is fine. I'm a bit anti-magnolia because I was brought up in a magnolia house and my dad is called Mr. Magnolia. Not really, but you get the picture. And then my mum retaliated in the 90s and painted the lounge terracotta. I now hate terracotta, so you can't win really, can you? But what I'm saying is, don't do it too neutral. I see a lot of oak, brown sofas and magnolia on the wall. I think that's fine because it's a formula that works. But if you're going to set your property aside, add some colour, add some texture. And grey is a really popular colour, but I think grey on grey can be flat. I think you need to add, if you're going to go for grey walls, it's your property, let's be honest, you can paint the walls grey, but don't go for grey carpet as well. You need to add a tonal carpet, sort of an oatmeal, because grey on grey is flat, so you need another dimension. And I've had a bit of a struggle with a lot of my clients because they say, oh, Mandy, I don't think that the beige is going with the grey. And I'm like, trust the process. When everything's in together, it will all blend. It won't look like the back of my dad's van when I was growing up, because he would carpet it all grey just to fit everything in. So you need to add these tones, and obviously cushions are something you can pick up cheaply. So, I use Dunelm a lot, so don't think that you've got to spend a fortune on stuff. Obviously you need to have a good quality sofa, table and chairs that are going to stand, like I have been known to dance on a few tables in parties, so you may get another me. I won't put my heels on, promise, if I can. So the space planning, thinking about how many people are staying in your property. So if you've got a 3-bed, you probably want to do one as a twin room and 2 doubles. Another option, if the rooms are big enough, is to go for zip and link beds. So basically they act as king-size beds, but you can separate them as well. So I generally put those kind of beds in areas where there's golf courses. Women, we don't mind sleeping in the same bed. Like I've been, hotels, we don't mind. Men, they like a twin room. So, you know, if you're by a golf course or if you're doing something that involve, you know, walking, that groups might not know each other, just think about who's coming to your area, what they will do, and how you can be flexible. So obviously you've got to think about bedding then, because usually I buy 3 sets per room, which sounds a bit extreme and it's a lot of money, but it just makes changeovers really easy. So there is a list. You can pick up a list on most of the holiday lets agencies. You can pick up a list just of the itinerary of the cutlery, crockery, all sorts of stuff. I've just done one recently and it blows my mind how much stuff people actually need. And obviously, a recent one we've added to holiday homes is air fryers. I haven't got one myself, I know. I am very in the dark ages with that. So yeah, spatial planning, making sure that if you've got 6 people staying, that you've got 6 chairs, 6 places for bums to be on seats in the sofa area. This can be quite a struggle sometimes. So I often, if there's not enough room in a, you know, I've done a converted barn recently and it was quite small. So there wasn't enough room to have 6 seats on a sofa in that room. So what I did was add a couple of armchairs to the bedrooms, and then they're flexible then, so people can bring them up. So, you know, try and do a bit of a spatial planning so that, right, okay, go for a sofa that's best fit, whether it be 2 two-seaters or a corner, but have these flexible chairs in, you know, because if you've got a little bay window, you could put one there in a bedroom, and they can always bring them up if 6 of them want to watch the telly. But if they're on holiday in Wales, they shouldn't be watching the telly, should they? Let's be honest. So always measure the space when you're buying furniture. Don't buy something too small for the room. That sounds obvious, but it's so important. You know, even if you're doing it on just a piece of A4, just scale things out, because it's a lot. Sometimes you need to fit a lot of stuff in. And the flow. So design your rooms so people can easily move through the rooms with a clear path through the door. It's actually, people don't need much furniture or styling in a property if you do the basics right. So when I talk about basics in a bedroom, you need a bed, bedside tables, lamps, a rug maybe, and then you don't usually use wardrobes when you're going away. You can just have open spaces, and if you've got a little alcove, think about putting shelving with a rail underneath and just a little suitcase carrier, because if people are coming, you know, is your destination going to be a 2 or 3 day thing, or is it going to be a week? Just think about all these things when you're cramming the furniture in the bedroom. Maybe the kids' bedroom doesn't need as much, because the more storage they have, the more mess they make. Well, in the case of my 3 at home anyway. So choose your style, first impressions count, and lasting. So overall design and style of your holiday let is key selling point for guests. So it pays to get the look and feel right. Stick with the decor that's simple, fresh, light, and neutral. And I'm not a neutral lover. I love all the colours. So but it does have a wider appeal, and I think how you set yourself out then is by styling it, and don't overstyle it. You know, you need a console table with a guest book, some faux plants, or, you know, I prefer real ones, but I find it really hard to keep them alive. So if you can put that in your changeover, that they're watering the plants, then that's fine. But I think plants is a great one, really cheap. You can get artificial ones from IKEA, Dunelm again, lots of places. Throws, so sometimes I don't put them on the beds, but it's a great way of styling. You know, you can have a cohesive look, and then you can have a slight different tone or theme for each bedroom, and then pictures up on the wall. I think it's really nice to have local landmarks, and in our own, we've got a 1 bed in our barn that's stuck to the house, and what we've done is put a local map and then put areas of interest on it, and put well, my husband did it because I've got no sense of direction, even even if I've lived on the island for most of my life. I'm from Anglesey. And then we put pins there so that people can have, so we've put Penmon Lighthouse, we put a pin there, and then a sort of you are here, so they can go, there's a string to show them. So just interesting, you know, because sometimes I go on holiday and I haven't done a full itinerary. So if they're coming to your place, get a map and then just point out the places to go. And I find once you've got the family or the people that come to stay there once, and you've made everything easy, they're going to come again. And obviously that's great for you as well, because they're not going to come again if they've trashed your house. So that's a good one. And just local artwork, so local pieces of interest, again, making the most of where you are. And yeah, drawing your style for the inspiration, for the location of your property. So yeah, if you're by the sea, don't go for seagulls in windows, but, you know, just have some coastal stripes, have some neutrals, rural. Don't go overboard with the tartan, but just, you know, some green, warm colours and references. So if you're on a farm, have you got old pictures of, you know, that have come with the property or you've had from the family? Because our farm, it's not a working farm now, but it used to have Shire horses, and we've got great pictures of the horses in front of the stables, and it's so, people love that sort of element of history, and I think we're known for that as Welsh. So I just think people come on holiday to Wales to see, you know, the richness of everything we have to offer. So flooring. Easily overlooked. You've got to go for low maintenance. Carpet is fine, but I don't suggest you spend a fortune and go for wool. You need something that you can really clean. Carpet in bedrooms is fine, but something like engineered wood is great if you've got underfloor heating. But there are some really good sort of LVTs, Amtico, that are really hard wearing. But you can also get cheaper ones. I've used Quick Step aqua boards, and usually they're used for bathrooms because of the water. They don't expand in water. And I did a house about 8 years ago, and the flooring is like new. So, you know, there are many, you know, flooring is really important because it's a lot of square meterage, and if you get it wrong or if it's rubbish, then you will have to replace it. But there are many, you know, do your research, because and I usually go for not too much of a warm oak and not too grey, so just like a washed grey, I'd call it, neutral, timeless, and that's what you want. You want timeless. You don't want something to date. So we've done the flooring. Oh my gosh, I'm not even catching up with the slides, am I? 10 munud. Nes I ddeud o. I said to you, I'm either going to go over in 10 minutes or I'm going to go on and on. Apparently I'm going on and on. Okay. So entrance, I have got a few examples here. So just keep it simple, console table, boot storage. You don't need to go over the top, but you know, the top slide there is just, that's in a farm. So you can see, you know, you can put a hat on, you can style it a bit, but obviously they do need to put stuff on. A lot of them are styled to photograph. So when you're looking at websites, you're thinking, gosh, where am I going to put all my stuff when I come on holiday? Baskets are a really handy one. So, you know, even if you just have a basket, a haul, a coat stand, because people can use them, you can put blankets in them if you've got spaces outside, or you can put shoes in them. So yeah, the entrance. Kitchen is a really important one. I love designing a kitchen. So again, you don't have to have enough bar stools for everyone. Not everyone is going to join you at the bar stool. Well, hopefully not everyone. You know, the people that you don't actually want on holiday aren't going to be there. So there is a list of essentials that you need. So, you know, kettle, toaster, everything like that. Don't over-clutter it. Just get the basics, and then, you know, that is obviously styled for a shot. Herbs don't last in my house, so a few faux planting. You could put fresh flowers if you've got, you know, that's something you can do quite cheaply. We used to do that, but the slugs are eating my dahlias at the minute, so I can't even do that for our guests. So yeah, just simple styling, no over the top, and just keep it simple. And, you know, there's no need to buy expensive stuff because obviously we trust most of the people, but some, you don't want anything. If you've got something that's really sentimental, you may need to do, if you have got a list of stuff like that, you may need to do an inventory just so that you know who's gone and a checklist and stuff like that, if you want to add a bit more character and personality. So living areas, again, keep the sofas quite neutral. You can add, the top one there is like a duck egg blue, which is always a great practical one. And most fabrics these days are washable. I've got a velvet sofa, but it's called Clever Velvet. So I've got 3 kids, 2 dogs and a cat. And I like chocolate a lot, and we all know how chocolate lands on sofas. So durable fabrics, they are mostly these days, or you can get loose covers, washable. Obviously, you need to buy more than one set if you want to, be able to change over quickly. Throws are a great one. People can, use them around the house if you've got spaces outside. And generally, like wallpaper, I don't put much wallpaper in, but sometimes I think it's nice to add a bit of character. So if you've got something, that you need to add another dimension, think of textured wallpapers, maybe not too patterned. I was in a house yesterday with boat wallpaper that the boys had in their bedroom when they were small. You don't have to go over the top because you don't want it to limit. But I think it's an easier way to put pictures up. So there's if you've got, I've recently done a house that we did quite blue theme, and then we bought some sand colours on the walls, and then an artwork from Dunelm, £35, sort of frames it all, because it's got like the beachy scene, but it's not a particular beach. Bedrooms, again, keep them simple. You need a bed, bedside table, lighting, and then we've done bunk beds before. If there's a nook that you think, I can't actually fit something that I can buy from IKEA, you can always put something like that in. Kids love a bunk bed. I think they're really appealing. And then, just styling with flowers. Bedding, I usually, most of the people that come and clean the lets that I've done don't like white because it's not very forgiving. So we go for a light grey or a mid-grey, a mid-stone or a stripe. So we've done a lot of stripes recently. And then just have a simple throw, so if you're going for a bit of a green theme, you could have a green throw, a couple of green cushions, and that's going to just elevate it a bit. And then you can find some, just a couple of pictures on the wall is more than sufficient. And then if you've got a chest of drawers, a little faux plant, a little picture, or a little ornament, and that's fine. You need about 3 things. You don't need to overstyle it, because when people come to take photos of it, they will style it. So you just need to make it a bit more cozy and a bit, because I think what's nice about going on holiday is that you go to these houses and they haven't got all the rubbish that you've got in your own homes. It's just really streamlined, and it helps to come back, when you're going on holiday, that you've got calmness. So, final thoughts, right? I'm just going to check my script now, because I've gone through them. Final thoughts, okay. Bottom line, when it comes to furnishing your holiday home, it's important to think about the purpose of each room and what kind of atmosphere you're going for. And once you've got a plan in mind, choosing pieces for that to fit that space that you'll love for years to come. So it'll make it much easier. If you have more expensive decorations, you may consider keeping an inventory checklist. Ensure they're not getting taken away. Now, it's one thing to have an idea of how your furnishing should be. It's another thing entirely pulling it off. So I hope that I've given you some indication and that you've been able to keep up with my really fast talking. And of course, working with an interior designer will make it all easy for you. And you shouldn't be doing mistakes. But in a competitive market, it's a sound investment, I think, because I think people will always want to come on holiday to Wales. Yeah, hilarious. Like this around 8 minutes.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. I'll have to bring this down, I think. Sorry, you had to adjust. I failed to adjust your mic at the beginning. Sorry, Mandy. Sorry am hynna. Great. Diolch yn fawr iawn I ti. That was fantastic. Union beth ni angen de. Rhywun sy'n bod yn honest efo ni a just yn deud fel mai. So somebody who's being completely honest and says it how it is. That's what we need. There's so much to think about, isn't there, with interior design and getting places as, well, getting the wow factor, as Mandy said. So, diolch yn fawr.